Archimedes will be remembered when Aeschylus is forgotten, because languages die and mathematical ideas do not. A mathematician, like a painter or poet, is a maker of patterns. If his patterns are more permanent than theirs, it is because they are made with ideas. Beauty is the first test. There is no permanent place in the world for ugly mathematics. A person's first duty, a young person's at any rate, is to be ambitious, and the noblest ambition is that of leaving behind something of permanent value. Pure mathematics is on the whole distinctly more useful than applied. For what is useful above all is technique, and mathematical technique is taught mainly through pure mathematics. I was at my best at a little past 40, when I was a professor at Oxford. It is not worth an intelligent man's time to be in the majority. By definition, there are already enough people to do that. If a man is in any sense a real mathematician, then it is 100 to 1 that his mathematics will be far better than anything else he can do, and that it would be silly if he surrendered any decent opportunity of exercising his one talent in order to do undistinguished work in other fields. Such a sacrifice could be justified only by economic necessity of age. I am interested in mathematics only as a creative art. I wrote a great deal, but very little of any importance. There are not more than 4 of 5 papers which I can still remember with some satisfaction. It is a melancholy experience for a professional mathematician to find himself writing about mathematics. The function of a mathematician is to do something, to prove new theorems, to add to mathematics, and not to talk about what he or other mathematicians have done. Statesmen despise publicists, painters despise art critics, and physiologists, physicists, or mathematicians have usually similar feelings. There is no scorn more profound, or on the whole more justifiable, than that of the men who make for the men who explain. Exposition, criticism, appreciation, is work for second-rate minds. Young men should prove theorems, old men should write books. Real mathematics must be justified as art if it can be justified at all. 317 is a prime, not because we think so, or because our minds are shaped in one way rather than another, but because it is so, because mathematical reality is built that way. Most people are so frightened of the name of mathematics that they are ready, quite unaffectedly, to exaggerate their own mathematical stupidity. I do not remember having felt, as a boy, any passion for mathematics, and such notions as I may have had of the career of a mathematician were far from noble. I thought of mathematics in terms of examinations and scholarships. I wanted to beat other boys, and this seemed to be the way in which I could do so most decisively. Mathematics is not a contemplative but a creative subject. I was advised to read Jordan's Cours d'Analyse, and I shall never forget the astonishment with which I read that remarkable work, the first inspiration for so many mathematicians of my generation, and learned for the first time as I read it what mathematics really meant. A month's intelligent instruction in the theory of number ought to be twice as instructive, twice as useful, and at least 10 times as entertaining as the same amount of calculus for engineers. If intellectual curiosity, professional pride, and ambition are the dominant incentives to research, then assuredly no one has a fairer chance of gratifying them than a mathematician. There is no scorn more profound, or on the whole more justifiable, than that of the men who make for the men who explain. The public does not need to be convinced that there is something in mathematics. All analysts spend half their time hunting through the literature for inequalities which they want to use and cannot prove. The fact is there are few more popular subjects than mathematics. Most people have some appreciation of mathematics, just as most people can enjoy a pleasant tune. It is rather astonishing how little practical value scientific knowledge has for ordinary men. How dull and commonplace such of it as has value is, and how its value seems almost to vary inversely to its reputed utility. A mathematician has no material to work with but ideas, and so his patterns are likely to last longer, since ideas wear less with time than words. Philosophy proper as a subject, on the one hand so hopelessly obscure, on the other so astonishingly elementary, that their knowledge hardly counts. No one should ever be bored. Ellipsis. One can be horrified or disgusted, but one can't be bored. A man who sets out to justify his existence and his activities has to distinguish two different questions. The first is whether the work which he does is worth doing, and the second is why he does it, whatever its value may be. Good work is not done by humble men. A science is said to be useful if its development tends to accentuate the existing inequalities in the distribution of wealth, or more directly promotes the destruction of human life. Good work is not done by humble men. For any serious purpose, intelligence is a very minor gift.